I remember a really long time ago, let's take, for example, 2016. We were, making YouTube videos every Tuesday, and I was like, for a really long time, when Grace and I had like monetization off in the beginning of YouTube and it wasn't a business and people weren't trying to give us brand deals and we weren't in LA yet,
Right.
we were just like, okay, this is so fun. I could do this forever. Yeah. I'm like building a community. I'm connecting with these people and it feels amazing. I'm making friends,
Right.
And like they're there for me and they appreciate what I do. You know what I mean? They think I'm funny. I love when people laugh at me.
Yeah.
So I was just, those were my main focuses. I was like, okay, I'm just going to I was doing it for my soul. And, it got to a point, after I moved to LA, after people started telling me what brand deals were, after we started making money off monetization, like like any business person does, you adjust and you do whatever's going to make you the most money because, that's like another dopamine release, making money. So you have to choose whether like someone laughing at you or you making more money is more important to you.
Right.
Yeah. And like when you're living in LA, making more money, you kind of don't have an option. You need to,
especially when you're young.
Yeah, and when people are like starting to tell you like, oh, you've branded, you've marketed really well, you've created such a good brand, but all the time I was just like, this is just me.
You didn't even know what a brand was at that time, right?
So I remember there was a time in like 2016, and like the thought came across my mind while I was driving. I just got my permit. I think I was driving around with my dad in the passenger seat or whatever. We were talking about it. We're talking about YouTube, and I was like, we were about to film a video when I got back home, and I remember just like procrastinating more and more before we filmed at certain times. I remember like as soon as I turned the camera on, I had a good time. You know what I mean? Because nothing could take away from that time. Like it helped me escape reality. Yeah. But just it became harder and harder to get myself to do it because what I was doing, well, I had like it would be, I'd have a lot more freedom when I wasn't thinking about money. And then as I started to think about money, there was like a checklist involved. And although it was fun to execute, it wasn't fun to really plan.
Right.
So I was like always trying to procrastinate, and a thought came across my mind while I was driving. I'm like, why have I been procrastinating? Do I not like what I do anymore? And then for like another year to year and a half, I kept lying to myself.
Yeah.
And saying, I do like what I do. I do like what I do. I do like what I do. Not expecting myself to grow up and, have different interests and get bored of certain things that I've just been like,
right.
I was like running myself dry of like, the personal aspect of like creating and stuff. So I was just like, no, I like what I do. Yeah. I do. I love what I do. I have a dream job. Like my mom always told me growing up, you'll never work a day in your life if you love your job. And I'm like, I love my job. I love my job. And it got to a point, and then I remember like I was so terrified of telling myself, you know what, you need to admit to yourself that you don't like your job anymore.
Yeah.
You have to rework it to make yourself like it again. And I was so afraid. Yeah. And then the day that I said, I was like, you know what, I don't like what I do. Now that sounds so negative. Yeah. That's a complete negative statement, but it's the truth. And I remember as soon as I said that, it was like a huge weight off my shoulders because then it was like, okay, I just told myself the truth, and now I'm going to fix my situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you can work on it.
And then that's when we began like a new era, a new filming process. We got a filmer. I think a lot of the reason that we like would procrastinate and stuff like that back in the day. And dude, I honestly can't relate to you because I like vividly remember like going to film 2 videos or 3 videos that we did in 2016, like remembering pre-filming them, like how much I was like eager to like sit down and film them, and that I thought about it all day, all week. I wanted to do.
Maybe it was a little later than 2016, but I just remember that was like the first time that we ever like decided to rebrand or like
This is why reinventing is so important. Yeah, like switching up your thing to something that you're more interested in at the moment is so important. Yeah, and we all recognize that. We've literally just done it. Yeah, and oh shit, I fucking love vlogs. Dude.
I was gonna say like I wanted to get into this that I'm obsessed with. But I want to say, again.
Dude, I want to say that, dude, you might be a little off there. Like I wouldn't say that you didn't like your job back then. I would say that like maybe that's when you realized it was a job.
Overwhelming.
And you didn't like the job aspect of it of like trying to like do like we did all the roles. We edited, we filmed, like that's us. We would go somewhere, set up the camera, like walk, get a shot, come back, move the camera. Like that shit's like taxing, you know what I mean? On your mental. And it's like really when there's like you're thinking about the final picture and something that is very stressful, so it's like kind of draining. And then also on top of that, editing. And like just literally everything.
You know literally. What I mean? Even posting it, all thumbnails.
Yeah. So that's when we were like, okay, we need to reinvent. It wasn't really reinvent, but what's the next step? And then we got an editor to help us, and like then we got like people in the writing team and stuff like that. And that's when like it became more fun again. We were able to like have just focus on the creative
But
part.
we also completely reinvented at one point.
Yeah.
From the sit downs to then getting up and actually doing stuff and experiencing new things and then filming it. You know, putting like, it became too much where we were like taking bits and trying to make them reality versus trying to make a reality like something that's digestible and film it. So that's.
Bro, I just don't like how you said that before. Like, I'm just speaking personally, dude. Like, I wouldn't have traded that shit for anything.
Did I say I
bro.
would trade it? No.
No, but like, even like, I think I loved it, dude. I think I loved it always. And I do understand what happens like when there's like a spark can be lost when your passion becomes your job, because it's like, okay, now I need to like do this. You feel like you're dependent on this thing because it's making you money and giving you like.
I think it's important.
Making you a living.
I know this is our podcast and it's a completely different channel. We have a completely different audience. I think it's really important to be transparent. There's been many occasions where you're like, I don't want to film right now. Nothing's going to get me to film this video. It's completely okay to feel like you're burnt out of a passion. I think every single person who's our age can relate to it because like there's certain things that you pick, whether it's sports, whether it's academics, like around our age is when you have this passion and it's been working for you. It's the first time that your passion really becomes a job because when you're in school, you know, you start playing a sport because you love that sport, and then it comes time where you have to get good enough at it so you can, in hopes to get a scholarship to college, you know? And then academics, like, you know, you enjoy studying, you enjoy creating projects, you enjoy putting your all into your schoolwork, and you love getting the good grades because it does something to you, you know what I mean? It's a return. And then it becomes like, okay, well, if I don't get good grades, then I'm not going to get a scholarship.
Or I'm not going to get into this college.
Pressure starts building.
Exactly. So there's pressure.